Welcome to the People Leaders Podcast, the audio resource for managers and business leaders creating high-performing teams. Join leadership and team development experts Jen and Michelle Turkelson each week as they explore both subjects from every angle. Through practical tips, valuable insights, and compelling interviews with leadership experts around the world, you'll learn how to bring out the best in your staff and how to give your best as a leader.
Okay, good morning, Jen.
Good morning, we're together.
We are together.
In Kempsey, New South Wales.
Yay, the thriving metropolis of the North Coast.
That's it, yeah, with crappy internet. However, it's given us an opportunity to reflect around the year and what we have seen the most effective
managers and people leaders.
That's right, and strategies.
Yeah.
Go.
Okay, so what we thought we'd do is talk about the biggest insights that we've got from working with hundreds of people leaders over the last year. So number one, and it is at the top of the list, is make your wellbeing a priority. So what we have seen is managers who have been able to sustain their energy levels, have been able to get through this really busy period at the end of the year, in such a way and achieve their goals and still feel, that was, they're still energized and vitalized.
Yeah. So they've made it a foundation of their life, really. They've either had a really good mental, emotional or physical practice that they have created a habit around.
That's right. And you can just create mini habits, like just start somewhere. And so let's just give them a mini tip on mental, physical, emotional. So physical, here's one that everybody could do. Hands up how many people eat their lunch at their desk. Yes, I can see lots of hands up. Just don't do that. Try it for a week. Just set yourself a little mini target. Don't eat lunch at the desk. Eat it outside. Eat it in a communal area, or go for a 10-minute walk every single lunchtime. Start small. You will start to see the changes in the afternoon. Definitely.
Mental, I would recommend either to start a conscious breathing habit or learn to meditate, even if it's 5 to 10 minutes every day or every second day. Just be still, calm the thoughts, and the thoughts will come through, but that's okay. Just keep focusing on the breath. So I would really encourage some mental quietening and peacefulness.
Well, I just want to share a quick story, Jan. There is a group of people in an organisation we're working with at the moment, and the manager organises a group meditation in one of the meeting rooms. I think it's every Friday or every second Friday for 20 minutes. And, they turn the lights down or off, and they find one app that they've got, and off they go.
Powerful.
Yeah, very good.
Powerful.
So one emotional strategy that we would recommend is just to notice your emotions. So awareness is the first thing that allows you to move into change and then into action. And so just notice how you're feeling and set yourself a little mini target. So how am I feeling right now? Could I put a name to it?
Like, am I feeling frustrated? And can I go from frustration to hopefulness, from hopefulness to a little bit more at ease, and then perhaps, looking forward, joy.
That's right.
Enthusiasm.
Because it's very difficult to move from a very sort of angry state to a joyful state. So the first thing is just to notice, to put a name to it and say, could I move along that continuum to what's a better feeling state that I could move to? So there's a couple of strategies on the making wellbeing a priority.
The second one is operational excellence in some area of your work.
That sounds very technical, Jan.
It does. It just means doing one thing really well. So if I was to recommend something, mine would be meetings. So do you have an agenda? Do you have a chair that rotates? Do we write things down, assign responsibilities? I know it's the basics and we all know this, but we all know what we need to eat, but we don't do it a lot of the time. So it's actually putting it into action.
Oh, yeah, and there are some managers, and I do get it, we're really busy, we don't have time. It's my team We know what the rhythm is for these team meetings, so let's just continue. There is something very powerful about sending an agenda out in advance, giving people time to prepare and giving them an opportunity to add to that agenda and mix things up. You do not want to have the same format that you had at the beginning of the year at the end of the year, whether it's the time, the place, the sequence of events on the agenda, who's running the chair. You definitely need to keep that fresh.
Do you huddle? So, does your team or the meetings that you do, can they, instead of an hour, they be 45 minutes? Can they be stand-ups? Can they be huddles or check-ins? So actually start to create a language around the different meetings that you do have, but do them well. Yeah. And even if you're invited to a meeting, are you participating in the way that you would want people to participate in a meeting that you're running as well? So just notice, where can you be operationally excellent in one area?
So another area could be in your one-on-one catch-ups that you have with team members as a people leader. So you could call them check-ins, one-on-one catch-ups, have a process, have an approach, and make it consistent. That's the key thing. Whether you do it for 10 minutes every week, every fortnight, once a month for 30 minutes, it doesn't really matter. Just make it consistent.
Yeah.
And make it useful. So getting feedback from them about, is this working for you?
Yeah, and don't make it all about the task. There has to be around the development.
Absolutely
about that person. And I suppose the next part is making it about, moving forward for them.
Just quickly on that, the one-on-one catch-ups, it's funny because sometimes we hear managers saying, yeah, but should it be a formal one or an informal? It's like, let's not label them formal or informal. They're catch-ups.
Effective. You just want to make them effective.
Yeah, so I reckon there's a podcast in that. What is the difference between formal and informal, and what do we mean by that? Okay, number 3, keep developing yourself. What we have found, the most effective managers who have really been able to achieve some very audacious goals over the year are the ones that keep learning. They are learners, and they, for example, they download podcasts, they read or they listen to audio books, they attend courses. So many organisations now make available opportunities for lunchtime talks or those sorts of things. Take advantage of it if you're in a large organisation. If you're not, then who can't download an audio book?
Yeah, and we have found the most effective leaders are the ones who are very emotionally aware and emotionally intelligent. So that we would definitely recommend keep developing yourself.
Definitely.
The 4th one?
Yeah, stretch yourself in one area next year. So there is something about looking forward to something, and we know that growth happens when you just go beyond, what we call your comfort zone. So what is that one area that you could stretch yourself that feels a little bit scary yet doable? And it could be in a number of areas. It could be in the area of public speaking. It could be
publishing a white paper, attending a conference, and also setting yourself up to connect with 5 key people in your industry and I don't know, sharing an idea or an approach or just a coffee or something with them.
Yeah, or making one of the goals that you're going to achieve that you've agreed with your manager, like, go that extra 10%. It could be 10 or 15%. What does excellent look like? And look around and see in your team, in your organisation or online, where have you seen people achieve some amazing things? And just sit with that for a little while and then you'll find something.
And it doesn't necessarily have to
be work-related.
Yeah, that's right. Because I was thinking when I'm reflecting on my year, the most satisfying things were ones that actually really did stretch my comfort zone. And the first thing that comes to mind for me was speaking at the Byron Bay Community Centre in a forum called the Vagina Conversations, and I talked about the introverted and the extroverted vagina.
Having very good. Look it up on YouTube. It was very funny.
However, I do a lot of speaking, but it was my friends and family and community that I had to speak about and about that topic. However, it was so satisfying when it was complete.
And there's something about when you complete a big goal, you've got that forever to refer to and to draw on during those times of, when you start to doubt yourself. So that was number 4. Stretch yourself next year in one area.
Drum roll for the 5.
Okay, number 5. keep developing your team. So, of course, you keep developing yourself and growing, but as a people leader, you do have a responsibility because, as we know, most work in organisations gets done through teams and teamwork now.
That's
not
right.
through individuals.
And HBR said that 3/4 of the employee's day is actually communicating with colleagues, and even like collaborative activities now has increased by more than 50%.
And so what does that mean to keep developing your team? So one of the things is, why don't you use one of your team meetings just to have the conversation? You know, do we think we're actually you could download our high performing team tool and start with that. It's like a mini audit actually in terms of there's a strategy off the bat. And then have the conversation with your team. Like if we were to become a highly developed team, you don't have to use high performing, but if we wanted to become a really switched on, well-tuned team, what would that look like?
So one of my clients actually did the high-performing team assessment, and they were pretty good, actually. I found them to be one of the most high-performing that I've come across this year. However, there's always room for improvement, and their number one key activity was to start listening to one another really consciously and intently, which I think is interesting because we were just going through some of the research, and Google did a team-based, I suppose, research project called Aristotle, and they found that there are a number of factors that make good teams. And shall I just run through them now, Michelle? Yeah. So they said that everyone has an opportunity to speak roughly around the same amount. It may not be the quality is the same, but usually throughout the day or a meeting, they actually have that opportunity. The teams that did really well or effective were skilled at noticing how other people felt. So there was this emotional intelligence and sensitivity. They also had really clear goals, clarity and direction is really important. And there was a culture of dependability. So what I say is what I'm going to do. And then lastly, the number one thing, psychological safety.
That's right.
That people didn't feel that they had to actually close
put on a
off.
mask. And that's really important for people. So some people hear that word psychological safety, but what does it mean? So just think, does my team feel safe enough to come to me with things that they've sort of, grappling with, that they might be a little bit anxious about, that they're not trusting themselves, whatever that is, they're not feeling confident. Do they feel safe enough to share that?
And you don't have to have all the answers.
No.
And so it actually drilled down.
You create the environment, though.
That's right. Yeah. And it all drilled down to the team listened to one another, and they showed sensitivity to feelings and needs. And we can all do that. That's not rocket science, is it, Michelle?
No. So another one, just quickly, Jan, in terms of team effectiveness, wouldn't it be interesting if I was to ask you what is the number one motivator for employees or for team members? A lot of managers might answer things like, to have acknowledgement, to give them a challenging task. HBR did another study, and the number one motivator for employees is progress.
Yeah, right.
Is the ability to see progress. Everybody wants to leave work at the end of the day knowing that they have moved forward on something. So, what's your role as a manager to remove the obstacles, to have the conversation? What would it mean for you to move forward on this? Like, what would I need to do to support you so that you could move forward on this, that, on your health, on your, on all these different areas?
It's so satisfying to move forward in any goal.
And to help somebody move forward. That's one of the joys of people leadership. Okay, I think that's enough.
So we wish you a very, satisfying and fruitful time with your family and friends over this period, or not, or on your own. Or on your own. Well, my husband's going on a retreat for New Year's.
Just be you. Enjoy you.
He is. That's exactly what he's doing. Whereas I'm going to a dress-up party. Like the extrovert, the introvert. So yes.
And we have really enjoyed the feedback that we get from everyone. So more feedback, the better, because we want to really make this a community for people, leaders, where we can all grow together, because we learn so much from people that we work with, and we really appreciate that. So have a
peace out.
Yeah, peace out.
You've been listening to the People Leaders Podcast with Michelle and Jan Turkelson. For show notes and other free resources, please visit us at peopleleaderspodcast.com. Do you know someone else who could benefit from cutting-edge leadership and management techniques? Please take a moment to share this and other episodes via your podcast app, email, or social media channels. Each share helps us fulfill our goals of reducing workplace stress and increasing job satisfaction for leaders, managers, and their teams worldwide. The People Leaders Podcast is brought to you by the Experts On Air Podcast Network.